Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Bandai ThunderCats Classic 6-inch Mumm-Ra. With the introduction of the new 6-inch line of ThunderCats figures based off the original animated series, we're treated to our first new action figure of Mumm-Ra the Ever Living, based on his classic look. Mumm-Ra comes in the new 6-inch style classic packaging window box, showing off the entire figure within, with the character's name written sideways down the front. The packaging features some new animated style artwork of Mumm-Ra on the side and the top of the back of the box. The back of the box also shows off the figure within, as well as gives us a little sneak peek at the other ThunderCats products available in early 2012. Mumm-Ra is mostly made up of a pale blue plastic. He's a bit plain looking and probably would have benefited a little bit from a little bit of shading to bring some depth to the sculpt. The figure has the snake logo emblazoned across his chest. His headdress has plastic tassels set as if they are flowing off the back of his head. Now the head sculpt on this figure is decent, but it does seem a little bit off to me. But it does feature those deep red eyes and his devilish mouth wide open. It still looks like Mumm-Ra, it just doesn't really seem that perfect. Also, since there isn't any up and down movement in his neck joint, he does kind of look like he's looking slightly up all of the time. Alright, so now we've got ourselves an action figure based on the classic animated version of Mumm-Ra. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of his articulation and see how that works out. Now, Mumm-Ra's got pretty much the same style going on as the Lion-O figure, so he's got the nice ball joints up in the shoulders. You can get some great articulation. He's got the bicep twist, the elbow joints, the wrists rotate. They're on the little ball joint because he does feature the interchangeable hands. You can see that the joints are all solid pieces, so they are completely attached to the forearms there. And the joints are tight. They're nice and tight. They're really solid, actually, which I really like. But you can swap out the hands. So he comes with the two standard hands that are gripped for holding a weapon, even though he doesn't actually come with any weapons. And then if you want to, you can also switch them to the open hands, which I actually prefer on this figure. Although they do feel a little large, they seem like they're a little bit bigger than they should be, a little disproportionate. But I do still like the open hands more than those closed hands there. This Mumm-Ra does not feature the same torso cut articulation that the Lion-O did, so it actually kind of gives him that really weird puffy chest look, which was the same thing that Tigra had on the 8-inch figures. I'm not really sure why they opted to go with this. I don't know why Lion-O is the only figure that they're putting that waist cut joint on. Granted, the waist cut articulation doesn't really do a whole lot, but it makes the figure look a little bit better than this. I don't really like this puffy chest look. He looks a little bloated, a little bit larger there than he should. He does have the waist articulation, so you can turn him side to side. And then he does have knee joints and ankle joints. Now, his skirt piece that he's wearing is actually made of a really hard plastic. It's not very pliable at all. So this actually does hinder the articulation in the legs. You can't really get a very wide stance with him, and moving his legs forward or backward is not going to get very far, actually, because of that skirt piece. It's not too bad, man, because he still stands fine. You can still get him in some good poses, but you're not going to be able to get any wide stances for any kind of real dynamic poses or anything like that. He comes with these really cool, like, flowing bandages on the back, but they're a little awkward, and let me show you why. He's got these two little holes in his back, and that is where the bandages plug into. He's got two different bandages pieces. One is kind of a longer one, and it's got the peg right in the middle of it. And then the second one has got the peg all the way down here at the end. So when I first got this, I actually kind of struggled with it, not knowing exactly how these were supposed to plug in, because there's really nothing on the box that shows you how to do it, and it's hard to find a way to get them both plugged in to make them look right. So I assume that I'm probably doing this right, or that you can probably do it however you want to get whatever kind of pose you want out of him. But once you get them on there, they do look really cool. It looks like they're kind of flowing behind him. Looking at it from the back, it kind of looks a little bit like a jumbled mess. But looking at it from the front, where the bandages are kind of flowing back, it does look kind of cool. And yes, you can see that this piece is actually removable. The tassels on his crown, they're just a small little peg that pops in there too, so it's pretty cool. So there you go. There's a closer look at Mumm-Ra's build. The flowing bandages hanging off his back are made of a pliable plastic, but they aren't bendy like I originally thought they would be. So they just kind of hang there. You can reposition them on the pegs in his back to find the right look that you desire, but they are a bit awkward. However, once you get them positioned the way you like, they do really add to the overall look of the figure, and it's pretty cool. Now, Mumm-Ra does not include any accessories whatsoever. It kind of makes those interchangeable hands a bit pointless since he has nothing to hold on to. Since Lion-O includes multiple accessories, I'm a bit bummed out that Mumm-Ra gets absolutely nothing. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Here's Mumm-Ra standing alongside his vintage counterpart from LJN. You can see the difference in the colors used on the figures, as the vintage figure didn't quite match up with the cartoon series. And here he is alongside the modern 6-inch Mumm-Ra. Kicking off this new 6-inch classic line with the main hero and villain was a pretty cool idea. And it's nice to get a new action figure based on the classic look of the archenemy of the ThunderCats. He's definitely not perfect though. The icon hero staction of Mumm-Ra, while not exactly an action figure, remains to be my personal favorite representation of the character so far. And seeing him side by side with this new 6-inch Mumm-Ra, you can really see that this figure could be a little bit better. Now with that being said, I do want to stress that I do still like this figure. Not as much as I liked the 6-inch Lion-O, but he is still pretty neat, and I think it's cool that Bandai is starting to get on the right track. Let's just cover up those exposed screws on his back, get a little bit more detail in that paint job, and tweak the sculpts just a bit. We are almost there. Classic Mumm-Ra should be hitting store shelves right now, so happy hunting, and until next time.